Hello, this is to go alongside the little share I did yesterday about having serious undiagnosed illness. And I've put a little writing here about the gory details if anybody wants to know that, but I don't think that's the important thing really, and I didn't want to leave it at that. Although I need to stress to you that I have been suspended from the liver transplant list, which I was on because of the effects of an autoimmune disease, because of this other infection. So really any hope of intervention is looking forlorn now. But what I want to say is that the whole thing is not a dreary affair with faith at all. It's not dreary at all. I remember that young man. Do you remember? He had a terminal illness, and he said he'd do all these things that he enjoyed doing, and we all thought, great. It's a different attitude to the whole thing, isn't it? Well, sometimes we can't go off and do things like that, but honestly, I'm sure it is my faith, but it's there for everybody, of course. I've been, I've had so many consolations. I want to sort of mention a few more of those, and then the laughs and the enjoyments, you can get, even when you're stuck in with whatever. Obviously, when it's really bad, you just, have to sort of get through that as best you can. But often I try and distract myself. You see, a lot of, you've got to sort of get your mind on the right things, haven't you? And just the same way as I did that little one about the end of a difficult day, turn on something you can have a little dance to that you've always enjoyed, some bright music. Well, you go the opposite way here as well and watch something that sort of takes you right out of yourself. Something funny. I mean, yesterday during a difficult time, I got out the first Nanny McPhee film because that makes me laugh the way everybody hams about in that. I love it and things like that. Or actually Josephine Hull in Harvey. I only have to look at her and I can't help but laugh no matter how I feel, even when it's really, really hard. Although, you know, at those times I believe, oh, look, Jesus carries you, you see. And he does if you ask him to, honestly, he does. Not without suffering, but there's a whale of a difference. Anyway, but I just wanted to talk a few more things about all the things I've enjoyed doing the last 6 months when it's been getting worse and I've been stuck in on the hole. Occasionally I get a good bright couple of hours and I can get out. And when I do that, I make the most of it. And I love a charity shop. I find that a real stress buster. And all sorts of like nature and stuff like that. It's amazing how much you appreciate things when you only get to do them now and again. My goodness, and I really find I can chat to people much more than I used to because I suppose you're glad to see them and that, aren't you? And I've met some wonderful people and done some wonderful things, uh, and then even out for a very brief half hour sometimes. And then when you're in, which is most of the time, of course, are wonderful things to see that you'd never have seen. I've got a blackbird that stands in a particular place on a branch every day, and I go and stand there at the same time, and I think, well, this is very, very pleasant. What is life if full of care? You haven't time to stand and stare. And me and the blackbird just stand there, and we be. I've never learnt to be before in my life. It's always been do, do, do. Then, of course, there's all the little birds that come to the little thing that dangles off the window that one of the brothers made me. Oh, lovely to see them. I had a handicap one with a long beak, and I had to devise some way he could get the food by putting his nose into some soft food instead. Oh, it kept me going for days and days, that did. And loads of little things, you see. I think you scent little things that really pick you up at the right moment. Or when I've been not able to sleep for maybe even 2 or 3 nights and days, and I'm really past it, and my symptoms don't seem to be subsiding, and I just say, oh Lord, I can't. I've got to have some help here. And I find they subside, and I go to sleep. It's never too much. That's what I'm saying. It is what it is, but it's never too much. And there's loads of things to lighten the way. I was stacks more depressed at times in my life in the past, as I've explained on another thing about how to get out of depression, when I had everything, and I've been in the last 6 months. And sense of humour, it's great, Um, as I say, lots of things are amusing, really, especially yourself in a way, And I talk out loud. I mean, I don't care about that. There's loads of things you don't care a hoot about when the chips are down like this. I would never have done these videos, never in a month of Sundays, if I hadn't thought, well, time might be short, you better get on with it and do something. And also, that's come from a bonus of me being on my own. I would have just been talking to people in the house otherwise, but now to find somebody else to bend their ear of. Anyway, it's a cheerful business. It's not all gloom and doom. Honestly, it isn't. And you can think of all the things you enjoy. Go the opposite way. Think of those things. Dwell on them. I know there's that old phrase, count your blessings, but think of the things you enjoy. And don't think of them here, oh no, I'm leaving them and all that, because faith tells you that eye hath not seen nor ear heard what God's got in store for us. I think they'll be all there, but in a much more so. In the apocalypse, the lion will lie down with the lamb. Come on, what are we doing? We need to listen more to what we've been told by God. He tells us the truth. We need to listen to him to tell us, we've got to get out of these things that hold us back and hold us in unloving, sinful things, really. And if we can't get out of them, we can't even we just say, I want to get out of them. That's enough. We get help for that. We're not meant to be saints. We can't be ourselves, can we? And even, we've got to be kind to ourselves and ask him to help us to forgive anybody if there's something like that going on. With his forgiveness, his love. You see, it's not just his that we get to share his life, and we get to share his way of going through suffering, but we get to share his love for people. I mean, sometimes I can just look out the window and I can see somebody, and I can be, or on telly, some of the tragic things you see, and I can be absolutely gutted inside me on behalf of them, and I know that's from him. I can be broken-hearted about it for them and turn it obviously into a prayer for them, but I can feel much, much more for people and nature, like poor creatures and stuff like that. And I know it's his, because I'm trying to be more one with him in prayer and that, I know I'm feeling what he feels, you know. So it's rich in all sorts of emotional ways as well as other ways, and I feel more sane now than I've ever felt. So, see, if I don't last very long, and quite frankly, sometimes it's so bad now, and it involves me chest pain as well. The whole of me is struggling with this illness now. I suppose without the liver transplant I don't think they're still going to try and help. I've still got a biopsy to come, I think, but it's looking a bit forlorn. But I feel fine about it, and I want other people to take a whole different attitude towards this whole adventure of dying. I really do. Come on, we can look at things in a different way. We can. We've done it about other things. We don't have to be thinking in the ways we are thinking. So please. Oh, and I just want to end up on a note with this little fella here. It's called Deo Gratias. It was in a calendar, the Christian Blind Mission, and it was in a calendar, and the cheeky fellas leapt out and got into a frame on my wall, because when I'm really down, I look at him and I think, oh, I've never seen anybody looking so happy. And yet he's a poor little fella in some part of Tanzania with cerebral palsy. And what's more, his mum and dad, or he might even just have a mum, I don't know, she called him Deo Gratias, which means thanks be to God. I think, well, look how cheerful we can be if we look at things in a different way and we have a bit of faith and trust. So that is the note I want to finish doing the DVDs on. Okay, there he is, and many, many like them. All the best. Happy New Year.